But I think more of the story that we're going to go through is that I'm actually legally blind. I've never driven a car. I was born totally blind. I had cataracts in both eyes as a baby. And my dad was a man with a lot of perseverance. And that's the story that I'm going to stick to. And he found a hospital. It was the Rainbow's Babies and Children University Hospitals in Cleveland that was
Mhm.
able to what they call needling the lenses. So
Mm.
I don't have lenses. If you notice, my pupils are kind of small.
Yeah.
All our pupils are that size, but you have a lens that over years which magnifies it. So back
Mhm.
in the 60s, when they took cataracts out, they didn't do lens implants. They do them today, but they weren't perfected back then, so they didn't do them then.
Mhm.
So I went to, grew up, graduated high school, became a plumber, master plumber in 5 states right now, working on 6. And I know a lot about.
Please welcome America's service sales coach, Joe Crisara.
Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast, the show that helps home service professionals master high-value sales, build stronger client relationships, and grow their business like never before. Join industry experts as they share real strategies that drive results. If you're ready to level up your service game, you're in the right place. Let's get started.
It's the Service MVP Podcast.
Thank you for listening and watching the Service MVP Podcast. I want to give you a copy of my free book. Just click on the link below in the description and one will be sent to you from me personally. Thank you so much for listening. Welcome to the Service MVP Podcast. My name is Joe Crisara, America's service sales coach. And today we have a very special guest. His name is Bob Beall, also known as Bob is the Plumber. Welcome, Bob, to our Service MVP Podcast. We really appreciate you being here today.
It's my pleasure, Joe. Thank you for having me.
Well, definitely, Bob. You know, the legend is growing about you and what you've accomplished. Why don't you go ahead and give us a little bit of a backstory? Bob is a successful plumbing company professional. He has, just like a lot of us who are in the plumbing business, he said, I forget what they say, you can't take the trade out of the plumber is the bottom line, he said. So, or you can't take the plumber out of the trade. I'm not sure which way it was. Bob, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and why we're here today? What's the tell us a little bit just about you first.
Sure. I mean, I'd love to. Um, you know, I'm, I hate to admit it, but I've been in the trades for 40 years. I started plumbing with my dad in 1984. I had a customer ask me last year how long I've been doing this for, and I had to think for a minute. When I said 40 years, I felt I had to double check on a calculator. But I was very, very fortunate. My dad was a former union plumber who went out on his own. So growing up in the trades, there was absolutely nothing he was afraid of. 300 foot of steam pipe in a tunnel, 2 million BTU boilers in a church, uh, plumbed 146 houses in the 90s. In 1 year, I mean, it goes on and what I've done in the trade. But I think more of the story that we're going to go through is that I'm actually legally blind. I've never driven a car. I was born totally blind. I had cataracts in both eyes as a baby. And my dad was a man with a lot of perseverance. And that's the story that I'm going to stick to. And he found a hospital. It was the Rainbow's Babies and Children University Hospitals in Cleveland that was
Mhm.
able to what they call needling the lenses. So
Mm.
I don't have lenses. If you notice, my pupils are kind of small.
Yeah.
All our pupils are that size, but you have a lens that over years which magnifies it. So back
Mhm.
in the 60s, when they took cataracts out, they didn't do lens implants. They do them today, but they weren't perfected back then, so they didn't do them then.
Mhm.
So I went to, grew up, graduated high school, became a plumber, master plumber in 5 states right now, working on 6. And I know a lot about shit.
Well, that's good. Well, that is good. It always rolls downhill, Bob, right? As they say, two
That's
of us are
it.
both
Never
we
never chew
both
your
have
fingernails.
And payday's on Friday, right? So
Yeah, you hope.
if it all works out, we get paid on Friday too. Bob, tell us a little bit about it sounds like your family is wired that your focus was not on the challenges. It's like, okay, my son is born with vision deficiencies or he's blind. And you told me your right eye has a 2200 vision and your left eye you cannot see out of it whatsoever. There had to be a lot of times where you could just be like, man, I got to find a job where something where I don't have to. Because plumbing, it's a lot of visual aspect of it, and back then it was soldering or pounding those lead joints with the oakum and all that kind of stuff. Tell us how your father or your parents guided you through this journey. Was it? It sounds like you had a tremendous amount of support. Was that part of what was helping you with that challenge when you were younger? Tell us about that.
Oh, absolutely. My dad was a monumental support, mentor in my life, and as well as my mom. I was a mama's boy. I hate to admit it, but
Mhm.
if she was still here, I still am a mama's boy.
Wow.
And the I guess in a lot of ways, I didn't know any different. I really wasn't given a chance. I mean, handed a shovel, was told where to dig, and I dug and learned how to glue pipe together. And um, I luckily I missed a lot of the cast iron era, although I have poured a handful of lead joints in my life.
Uh-huh.
Soldering was always a challenge for me. Um, when I plumbed the new houses with my dad, and I'd basically do a lot of the prep and fitting, and let him come by and solder. When I had to solder, I could do it. Um, not being able to drive, I always had a driver with me, and I would tell my wife or my partner who was driving me that when that turns a certain color, okay, I want the lightest blue part of my tip. That's the hottest in the torch. I want that right there on it on the bottom side. And when you see about a half inch of solder flow or 3/4 inch of solder flow, I knew when it was done. And I did them. I probably have only soldered maybe 1,000 joints in my life. Probably had about 20 leaks.
Mhm.
Uh, just because I didn't do enough of it to be very proficient at it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's
But I do love ProPress for the record.
well, of course, I think that's a great solution for people who have visually impaired for sure. Because for sure it makes it a more serious. But I will say this: it sounded like not a lot of focus on the challenge. And by the way, I want everybody to know, Bob, tell us about he owns a Mr. Rooter franchise, and Mr. Rooter of Pittsburgh. Not only does he just do plumbing, he does it very well. I want to make sure that we all know that Bob isn't just some plumber who came on the show to talk about his challenge. I want to talk about the victory too a little bit. Where does your team rank? And you said the Mr. Rooter franchise system. There's hundreds of franchises of Mr. Rooter. What is your franchise rank, Bob? You want to tell everybody that?
So there's about 300 Mr. Rooters throughout the country. We lingered right around the top 3 or 4. There's a couple of PE groups that stepped in the game, and they're just dominating it. But for individually owned, we're probably third or fourth right now. I've been one. Facing the economy and times, I've dropped down, but have about 60 employees. Have 4 locations: Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Weirton, West Virginia, and Morgantown where WVU is. And I have a shop in Erie, Pennsylvania as well.
Well, it sounds like the grass doesn't grow under your feet very very easily.
No,
You're somebody who is in motion and always moving forward, as they say, right? Uh,
absolutely. I'm a firm believer, like the hardest train to stop is one that's moving.
what's the driving force behind you? What's the thing that makes you wake up every day and say, you know what, I don't give a shit how old I am, or I don't care how hard it is. I'm gonna keep going forward. I'm too stupid to quit. That's what I was like. Are you like the same way?
Yeah, definitely. I don't want to call us stupid, but I think there might be some truth to that. Uh, I've went through a lot of challenges in my life. I've battled some demons, some alcoholism, and all of that other stuff. And I've made it through that. And I just, I love life. Um, my granddaughter is staying with me part-time right now, on and off. And there's nothing better than taking a 5-year-old to the school bus and watch her get on the bus and watch her get off the bus when I can make it home in time. It's just a driving force that I can't get over. So with that said, that's, we'll go into my next venture in life, or additional venture in life, is I love training sales. I've went around the country for quite a few Mr. Rooters
Hmm.
in New York, California, and put on 1-day sales classes.
Hmm.
You know, I'd like to believe that on a good day on plumbing, I could give the best salespeople a run for their money. I still jump in a service truck whenever I get the chance to, and I love dealing with the customer. I love solving the customer's issues. I love a challenged job. I could tell you I could tell you a job that I was a fifth plumber at, and I'll tell it real quick. Is had this
Tell me.
house. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, yeah. Tell me.
I had this house down in the South Hills of Pittsburgh, and they kept having a sewer odor, sewer odor, sewer odor. And one of my guys came to me and said, "You think there's a stack cracked in the wall?" I says, "No, you'd have water coming out because the water osculates the outside and it would drip."
Hmm. Hmm.
So he says, he says, "What do we got to do?" I says, "We got to test it." He says, "What do you mean test it?" I says, "Well, we're going to test it just like it was new construction."
Hmm.
So now keep in mind, these people have had their bathroom replumbed. They had a new sewer put in their house. Okay, before we got involved in this job. And the company that replumbed the bathroom, I went and pulled the toilet. They had a shower drain. I put test balls in those. I put a cap on the lavatory and a cap on the kitchen sink. And I filled the system full of water through a clean out in the basement with the hose adapter. And I get all the way, get starts, and I'm standing outside, and my guys are with me thinking that this test ball is going to blow and flood this house. I'm like, it is what it is. We got to find this leak.
Hmm.
And it come to find out that there was a crack in the stack in the attic.
Ah, okay.
Okay. Which nobody would ever picture that, especially know who goes up in the attic and looks.
Never, nobody.
And so the stack had a hairline crack. And because of that, the stack wasn't working right.
Hmm.
The stack's supposed to be 18 inches above the peak,
Yep.
according to the IPC. And so we fixed the stack, and about a month later, the lady calls me. She says, "It's been the greatest month of my life." They lived in the house for 18 years and had sewer odors.
Wow. That
That
is
that I get my chills telling that story.
That is a great story. This is it's like I love doing that. I love finding a problem that nobody else can find, right? And
Yep.
I think that's where opportunities lie, which is, isn't it funny how people who have like challenges or built-in problems they're good, really good at finding problems. By the way,
Yeah,
it's like,
maybe that's it.
I think the more problems you have in your life, it kind of makes you familiar with a problem. I think it makes us be able to hunt them down easier there, right? And get involved with that. I want everybody to come to the next Total Immersion, the life-changing event where you increase your sales and your personal growth. What should we do? And that's really great. So tell us how, there's a people element of the business and there's the technical plumbing part of the business. Obviously, that plumbing stack was the one part that's the victory. But then you got the people part where she's calling you up and saying that you've solved a problem that nobody's ever solved, right? The people or the plumbing, what do you think? Where does your success lie? More with people or more with the materials and the plumbing stuff? What would you say?
Well, I think for the most part, you got to fix the person first.
Well
And
said.
when I say fix them, you got to put their mind at ease that you're going to figure out their problem. And once you
Well,
fix the person, then finding the technical side comes a little easier, I believe.
tell us that part. Tell us about what's your methodology uh, to both share what's in your heart and learn about people and things like that, and how does that impact the outcomes that you get?
Well, I think by fixing the person is, I want them to know, i- and I think this is actually part of what makes me a good, and I don't like the word salesperson. I like the word problem solver.
Mm-hmm.
To the tradesmen, the word salespeople is a dirty word, and
Yes.
it's not. It's not. I mean, Henry Ford said nothing happens till somebody sells something. But I like to fix the people. I like to fix the people by giving them the confidence. You know what? You called the right person, and I'm here. And just let me. And one of the biggest things that I preach to my guys is don't ever take the customer's word. If a customer says, "Oh, I already flushed the toilet upstairs. It didn't back up." Well, you're going to flush it again because I
Mm-hmm.
want to see it back up. I want to do my own diagnostics,
Mm.
and I don't ever believe anybody else's diagnostics. People have hand me videos, and I still want to camera their sewer myself because I want to know what it is. I want to know with my own hands, my own knowledge. I want to learn what I'm learning.
It's one of those things I believe in, which is assume nothing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I check it out myself and do that part of it there, right? It's like, and if you got a successful franchise with 60 plumbers, how do you get that message across to your people? So that, I mean, it's easy to say that you do that, Bob, and I get that. But you said you got like how many? You said that 60 people working for you? 60.
Well, you got about 60 employees. I got around 42 trucks on the road any given day.
Okay, so 42 people. It's one thing to scale that philosophy to you and maybe a few close friends of yours at work, but how do you get that message across to this is the big question. How do you get the culture to back that way of thinking?
It's a continual preaching. One of the biggest statements that I've learned over the years is you can teach skills, but you can't teach attitude. And you got to find the person with the right attitude that wants to solve the problem correctly. Unfortunately, there's a lot of lazy people out there that want to do what I refer to as minimal, or I actually, not publicly, but I call people minimalist. And those are the people that don't make it on my team. You got to give it 100%.
To find 42 plumbers who would follow that path. How many plumbers you say you try to get down to these 42? How many did you have to go through to get to these 42, would you say?
So I've been in business 26 years, and we number all our employees. And technician wise in the field, we're a little over 850. Uh, Office staff, we're about 115.
So it took about 800 people to find the 42 you have that are
Yep. In
gonna work that.
26 years of top grading.
So you would have to say, when it comes to finding the right person, like every company has to realize this is a big aha moment right here. I hope everybody listens to this. You have to There's a lot more failure in finding the right people than there is success. Yet you have to still, even when you find somebody that you hope would work out but doesn't work out, um, how do you deal with that kind of thing? Because a lot of people, they feel so disappointed when somebody they think is going to work out, but then it turns out they don't, or they're dishonest or something like that. How do you deal with that kind of disappointment? That really kind of kills some people. That's one of the hardest things for being an owner. I don't think I've ever actually talked about this subject before with anybody. You're easy to talk to, Bob. Because I don't think I've ever talked about this subject. Um, to the feeling you get when you realize, oh, damn, this guy's not going to work out. How do you deal with that kind of disappointment?
Well, first of all, I get called on to getting a lot of giving a lot of recruiting advice. I get people asking me, Mr. Rooter owners constantly asking me, how do you find people? And out of human nature, we like to get 90%, 80%. To us, if we don't have 80 or 90%, we feel like a failure. Well, when
Hmm.
it comes to recruiting, all right, if you can get 10 people to call you off of an ad or whatever, social media or however you post help one, and if you get 10 people to call you, you get one to show up, even though that's 10%, that's a win.
Hmm.
And then you have to go through them and you screen them. And what you're saying there a lot of times is when I get a newbie,
Mhm.
I go out on the road with them myself. Um, they're my driver, and we jump in a truck. I have my own box truck set up. And I went out earlier this year and I set record sales in my company for a month,
Mm.
um, just because I wanted to prove I could still do it.
Mhm.
And I was January and February, I was on the road, and I'm still in the top 10 of the salespeople in my company.
Mhm.
Um, so when I get a new guy, and unfortunately, the new guys that I hire and I take out on the road myself, a lot of them don't make it when I leave them loose to the rest of the staff. And it's disheartening,
Mhm.
but I've come to accept it. When I'm there doing the sales with them or walking them through every step of the way on how to install something, it's totally different than when they're on their own. And some of them just don't make it. And it disheartening is probably the best phrase I could come up with to describe that feeling.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I think I had to sometimes say, you know what, I'm doing them a favor. I have to kind of play mental games with myself to say, you know what, this is a service I'm providing that person because I think this is going to help them in later on in life. That they're not going to make it here, but I think it might be a motivating factor for them in the future. That's why I always try to myself, right? Um, but let's talk about the culture of the people who do make it. That's kind of something more positive, now, which
I
is
like that. I
which
like
is
that.
the more the people you have trained and all the people I know a lot of people I've talked to about that you have helped them with other Mr. Rooter franchises and training their companies as well too. Let's talk about that a little bit. How do you maintain that positive culture and the kind of the 42 people is a lot to acknowledge to try to say congratulations guys or great job. It's hard to say that 42 times a day. How do you systematically make sure people feel cared for, supported, and seen with 42 people in a company like yours? How do you do that?
Uh, continually, um, we have several group texts, the excavators and the sales guys and the installers. We have various group texts. And excuse me,
Hmm.
I try to pay attention to what's going on in the group text, and I always try to give an attaboy. I, one of the things that I started just in the last 2 years, and I've been in business 26 years, so I'm not afraid to keep learning. So I have a phenomenal business manager. Her name's Trina, and
Mm.
she's actually went through my calendar because we live and die by that dirty phone nowadays.
Hmm.
And my calendar, I get everybody's birthday. It's first thing that pops up in my phone. So I immediately call them or send them a happy birthday text. I call them. We give them a gift card for their birthday, and
Hmm.
it's not much, but I think the recognition means more to them. If I'm out of town, I still stop what I'm doing and I call whose ever birthday it is, and you know, hey Ryan, just wanted to take a second, wish you happy birthday. Years ago, I used to on new hire packages, I used to get their anniversary dates and used to always send home a gift card and a happy anniversary card on their anniversaries. Um, this conversation made me remember I used to do that because I stopped it. I might start it again. Um, any way you can affect their home life, okay, it's a positive. I've heard of some other fellow Mr. Rooters doing, family carnival events where the techs can earn tickets and go to have a carnival where the kids can run around and pick up ducks and stuff like this. Anything that you can do to benefit their family life and time, I think helps keep technicians happy. And you're
Well,
never going to keep them all happy.
yeah, that's true. I mean, you know what? I always say I release my need to make other people happy. I just do the best I can to serve other people, and hopefully they're happy. I can't I can't live or die with what other people think about me or whatever type of thing. I have to say, you know what? I just do the best I can to help other people, and if they don't appreciate it, that's on them, not on me. I don't just I try not to participate in negativity. How about you? Your philosophy at that? The plumbing business brings, obviously your own personal and physical challenges, but the plumbing. I always say that if I wanted to do something to my worst enemy, it would be putting him into the plumbing business without without any training. But instead, you're one of my now you're a new friend and you're still in it. Um, Tell us about you're trying you want to go out there and change and share the legacy that you've created with other people. And what is some of the sales philosophies that you have? I know the word sales is a bad word, but let's say service philosophies that result to give sales a better word. Let's call it service philosophy that ends up with revenue. How's that
Well,
sound? What are some of the philosophies you have in that regard, so we can share some of those philosophies with people who are listening to you now?
the problem is it's going to sound like I've stole them all from you or from other godfathers in our industry. Is first of all, a consumer doesn't know what they don't know until they know what they don't know.
Hmm.
So I believe number one is to educate them, and they need to learn what you know. And I use this phrase, and I says, I'm not here to be an alarmist because I've heard of horror stories of people telling them they got cricked. There was a company here in Pittsburgh, and I won't mention their name just out of respect, but one of their HVAC salesmen, the lady just had a miscarriage, and they told her she had a miscarriage because she had a cracked heat exchanger in her furnace.
Oh my God.
It was horrible, horrible experience, and even just to live through that in the market because I mean, that made press after press, and now every service company is scrutinized. So, I use the phrase that I am not here to be an alarmist. I want to be an acknowledgist. Your sewer's full of roots. Okay, your water heater is 19 years old. All right. I want to be an acknowledgist. I want you to teach and educate the consumer. And then fortunately, a lot of them then choose to buy the solution.
Hmm.
Uh, One of the biggest things that I'm on now is that we are promoting adamantly is the Halo water filtration. I hope it's okay. I give them a plug. Uh,
Well, Glenn Bevay is one of my best friends in the history of friends, of course. That's okay.
okay. He teaches in his program to put your fingers in a dish of water and then test the amount of chlorine in it.
Hmm.
Okay, where's that chlorine go? It goes in your body. And and I'd love to meet Glenn one day with you. Uh,
Sure.
I admire his work he's doing in our industry. If it's easy, if it's not fun, it's not easy. It's not Halo.
That's right.
And that's just a simple. To me, it's a way to educate the customer. And today's day and age, we're living in a whole different generation. Our customers are the 30 to 50-year olds. They're college degree. They're both working. They're not mechanically inclined, nor do they want to be mechanically inclined. So it's our job to teach them. I was dealing with a professional athlete, and I was at his house one day, and he didn't have enough hot water, and I proposed putting two tankless water heaters. And he looks at me and he says, "What's that?" I says, "It's these devices that heat water fast, and you always have constant hot water." He says, "Do it." I says, "Well, I got a couple of questions for you. I got to do some type of load calculation on your gas." And you thought I just asked him to solve the quadratic equation. And, and sometimes I take my technical side to a different level. I probably shouldn't. And,
Hmm.
but I ended up putting two tankless water heaters in his house. And as a normal customer, I set him up on an annual preventive maintenance program, and you call him three times for the year to show up. Well, one of the tankless water heaters only made it 5 years because he never had it serviced.
Hmm.
But I'm sure you've had customers like that over your life,
Yeah,
and
they, they, they
they,
don't make themselves available for sure. Yeah.
yeah, all I could do is educate them.
Yeah. That's the same way in this business too. Sometimes people pay for the training, but they don't show up for it. It's worthless. Just like that tankless will be worthless if you don't maintain it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. As soon
Um,
as that thing starts getting calcium built in, it doesn't work efficiently.
has your company adapted? Of course, we here at Service MVP do that premium mid-range economy choice for people. Is this something your company has adopted there, Bob?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know, uh, sometimes we do good, better, best. Sometimes we do premium, mid-range, and get by is
Mm-hmm.
what we call it.
That makes sense. Yeah. Good. What impact does that have? Just given the choices, what impact does that have?
Uh, it raised when we focused on it for a month. It raised our average ticket by almost 18%.
Mm, just by giving the choices only.
Yep, because here's the thing: is people will buy the best they can afford.
It's true.
26 years ago, I'll tell the story. 26 years ago, I bought the Mr. Rooter franchise, and all you hear was good, best, better, good, better, best, good, better, best. And back in the day, it was, Maurice Mayo's price book ended up at Mr. Rooter. All right, because Mayo worked for Rooter for a while back in the 90s.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And his book, he was all about good, better, best.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that ends up in my hands. And I laughed about it because I built a successful company and I sold it in 99. I laughed and I said, yeah, you know what? You don't need to do all this. So one day I had a lady call me and she says, my mom's drain's backed up in her basement. She says, I can't be there, but she's there. Can somebody go out there, but call me with a price? I said, all right, I'll do that. So I send my tech out. His name was Chad. He calls me and he says, yeah, the sewer's backed up. There's clean out in the stack. So I call the lady and I tell her it's going to be 245 to snake it, or I could snake it and treat it with a bottle of BioChoice, and it's going to be 305 or roughly. I don't remember the exact price.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can hydro scrub it with a root rat and give you a 3-year warranty, and you're looking at 7 something. And the lady flat right out says to me on the phone, she says, well, my mother deserves the best, but I'm going to go with that middle range.
Mm-hmm.
So I immediately did 2 cartwheels in the office and sold her a bottle of BioChoice. And that's when I bought into good, better, best, or as you teach, premium.
Mid-range and economy.
Yeah, we changed it to premium, mid range, and get by.
That's not bad. It's good. I like that. That's good. That's a good. You get my blessing to modify that if you want to. It's okay.
Thank you, thank you.
I just provide the information. You do what you want with it, Bob. You can you take ownership after that. Well, that's good. That's really good. I'm happy that you have understood that and it's helped your company. And definitely, I had training from Maurice Mayo too back in 1992. He was good at doing all the pricing, but he never did teach you how to present the pricing. That was the problem. I ran into it, and we did better too. However, we just didn't know how to sustain it. But then I kind of learned some other things there, so that's why I took it. I took the torch from Maurice, but he was a great guy, honestly. I'm
And
sorry you
I
got.
only seen him live one time. Uh, and it seemed like a great guy. I thought I thought his presentation was he went to the sales side, trying to sell his briefcase and price book too quick, I thought, rather than give us good content to work with. But what he gave was priceless. I mean,
He gave a systemized idea how to run a business, basically the way
yes.
seeing is believing, as he said, right? So, well, go ahead. I guess it's almost time to wrap this up, Bob. I mean, this is a short podcast. We don't do too long on this one, but can you give us any final thoughts here about what's in your heart for Bob Beall to help the service industry? Go ahead and tell us what's in your heart and what you think that you can add for other service professionals, please.
Well, so what I've done is in the last few months, I've started my own, what I call Bob is the Plumber.
Hmm.
And it's Bob is the Plumber because I'm an Ohio State fan. So I copied that from Ohio State.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So that is what I refer to as my stage name. I'm working on doing presentations. I've done a lot of training for some Mr. Rooters and a couple of non-rooters over the years. And I want to focus on training and developing technicians. And not only just training them in the trades, just to give everybody a life experiences, what I've been through in life at my age. And I think I have a lot of wisdom to share.
Mm-hmm.
So I put together a YouTube channel, a website. So, hopefully you can promote it. It's bobistheplumber.com.
Bob
And
is the plumber.com.
plumber.com. Yeah. And you go on there, scroll down the bottom, fill out the form. You get a t-shirt sent to you while they last. I got about 200. I have around 200 left. So next 200 people. YouTube channel. Again, I started this 6-8 weeks ago. I had 12 subscribers. I'm pushing 150 now. And I'm trying to do everything with integrity. Once you sign up on my website, you're going to get a newsletter. And I love to travel, so I put some travel in there, and I love to eat, so I put some food topics in there.
I love it.
I've done some reviews on Navien water heaters. I'm lined up to do a bunch of reviews on Milwaukee tools here shortly.
Nice.
So anything that I can do, and again, conversing with you for some way we can grow together, I'm here.
Well, definitely, Bob. I think I would love to have an alliance with you, and definitely I could see how the experience you have brought to this industry can help millions of other people. Bob is the plumber.com. Go there, and again, don't forget to look for your sign up to get on his list, as well as follow him on Twitter. Looks like X, I meant. Instagram, Pinterest, even Pinterest.
TikTok. I got it all.
I'm gonna make sure.
I hired some 26-year-old to help me with all that because they're much smarter than I am.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that, but definitely I have more. They know more about technology than you probably do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll go.
They're smarter
I
than you. I would say
appreciate that, but
I'm not going to say they're smarter than you, Bob. There's no way after that much, after all this stuff you've been through and you've lived to tell about it. It takes a lot of ingenuity and determination and grit. And definitely, I am proud and honored to have you here, Bob. So, thanks for joining us here today, and thanks everybody for joining the Service MVP podcast. We'll see everybody in the next episode. Have a great one, everybody.